city authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living.
Welcome to Dangertainment's look at Spooky Empire Retro 2017, the biannual kinda sorta horror convention when it comes to this spring event in Orlando, Florida. This one was held back at their kind of traditional stomping grounds of the Wyndham Resort, and I've gotta say right off the bat, I had a really good time. It was a really good event for me.
It was fun to go back to the hotel that when I started going to Spooky. That was the one I first went back in '09. So it was fun to go back to a familiar setup. They did it last year when they had Alice Cooper and the two Godzilla actors. Yeah, it was fun. It was nice to get back. It was familiar. It was nice to see them use the back of the hotel to use for panel rooms and another art exhibit.
It's probably hard to see on the map from here, but they did use their space, actually, I think really well this time. So they had the autograph rooms, and then a really big vendor room, the room that's normally the only vendor room, or at least it was last time if I remember right. And then they opened up this back one, probably somewhere near where my finger is, if I'm going to take a wild guess. And basically it's where they had panels last year. I mean, they still had panels back there, but they also had a second vendor room, which I thought was a really cool addition. It opened up the normal vendor room, kind of made it not quite so claustrophobic in there. They also ran the tattoo convention in the standard, the first vendor room. And I felt like they did a really good job of promoting that there was a second room so that people didn't not notice.
Yeah, they didn't forget about it. There are signs everywhere, especially when you walk in. It says, more spooky fun this way, and you follow it. Granted, it was a little bit of a walk, because there's a lot of staff and hotel stuff that we had to go by, but it was still prominently shown, hey, don't forget about all this in the back. But I think due to the fact that all the panels were back there, a lot of people did look at it.
So, kind of starting from the top of things, we started off with autographs like we usually do. We got there right at 11, or we were ready to go basically at 11 when the general admission opened up for the day. We went on Saturday, the 22nd. Yeah, Saturday is always, at least as far as I know, the busiest day there. Really, we only end up going Saturday most of the time.
And a lot of times Saturdays and Sundays is when like some guests are exclusive only. Like I think this year it was only the two kids from Stranger Things. They were only Saturday and Sunday. I mean, Saturday is sometimes they get their big guests to show up, so it's always a busier crowd. But surprisingly, it wasn't. There was a lot of panels, and there was, like, around the time that we were always in the autograph room, panels were going off, and also lunchtime, breaks, and everything. But it just felt really empty at times. Granted, a lot of it was busy, but then he had moments where it was just empty.
But walking into the autograph room at the beginning of the day, it was empty in the opposite way that it was kind of maybe later in the day, because the guests hadn't quite made it downstairs yet, it seemed, for the most part. There were definitely a few there. But our intention had been to go directly to get Dee Snider's autograph. But his handlers basically let us know that it was going to be maybe about an hour, I think, after the start, before he made his way down. Fortunately, as we were kind of looking around trying to figure out what to do, Kane Hodder walked in, and that became the plan.
So we went to Kane's booth, and of course, I always have to see him. I say hi to him every time he's at a convention.
You gotta bring him something stupid to sign, like 90% of the time.
Pretty much, because I've gotten Jason, I've gotten Victor Crowley stuff.
So you gotta bring him like Alligator 2, or your fucking leg, or something.
Hey, he autographed that. And by the way, I'm sure everyone at Spooky was told this by him, because he did take a picture. I am the only one he has autographed tattooed.
Like, he's actually had the tattoo machine in his hand, not somebody got a signature and somebody else tattooed it.
The photos are on the screen right now. He actually tattooed me in 2011 for his book promotion and everything. So every time I'm around him, he shows me around and everything. It's so funny.
It was hilarious. I never actually had witnessed this before, because like I think the only time I saw you and Kane after you got the tattoo, you were wearing long pants, and he just told you, why are you wearing pants, which I thought was hilarious.
Yep,
But he basically was like treating you like a prop to just like bring around, like anybody in the vicinity of his booth. He was just like, hey, look at this kid, look at my shitty tattoo that I did on his leg.
But it's so funny because a few years back, I always used to wear pants to this thing, and he grabbed me and showed me to Daniel Harris. The funny thing is, he looks down and he goes, why the fuck are you wearing pants? Either pull up your pant leg or take off your pants. One of these is happening. So ever since then, I've always had to wear shorts around him just so that doesn't happen.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of horror fans that would drop their pants around Daniel Harris, but that's probably not appropriate.
I'm sure they wouldn't do it with her fiance right behind her,
Well,
though.
that probably wouldn't end well.
But anyway, I'm sure.
So that would gone off on some sexual harassment for Daniel Harris. Oh, Jesus Christ.
But I've thought to myself, I gotta find something unique for Kane to sign, and since he's now the only stunt actor, performer to pull off all 4 horror legends, Phil here photoshopped a photo of Jason, behind the scenes photo of Leatherface, his Michael Myers short from Adam Green's driving lessons, and then Freddy's glove. So I brought that to him, and he was just amazed by it. It's so cool that actually the guy who is in the picture with the Leatherface picture with him was at the con. We just missed him. Like Kane was talking about, he was there yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. I think he was supposed to be there today.
Yeah, and we couldn't find him. Kane said he looked. But it was fun. He actually asked if we had an extra copy. Sadly, we didn't. But I did let him know that he knows how to get a hold of me. If he wants, we can send him the file for future conventions for him. Because I think it'd be kind of cool. I mean, granted, I feel he can find better high-res versions of a few of them.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I'm sure there's people who could put it together, but it's still kind of neat.
It's still neat and it's fun, and and the fact that I know it, he doesn't have that, nor does anybody else that I think of has this kind of a photo. It's kind of neat as a unique item. Plus, I don't know. I wonder if the Leatherface photo will be a more common thing being brought to him.
Well, that photo, as of this recording, is actually like recently unearthed, right? That was like kind of just came to light within the last month or so.
I think so. You're the one that pointed it out to me.
Yeah, like I remember seeing. That's why I found it. Was like I saw on the horror sites that people were saying that this was something that had just somebody found it in their old box of photos from when they were on the set. So.
Yeah. Same with, I think, some Rocky Horror photos got unearthed a few days ago.
I mean, I guess it happens, especially, now that people are getting older. They're either finding things when they're moving, or people die and people find them in their closets or whatever. But so I guess I'll go next, and I'm a weird segue piece because I got an item signed by both Kane and the next booth we visited, which was D. Snyder. And I'll replace my co-host with this because it's much better looking. Basically, I made a Holliston poster. I'm a huge fan of Adam Green's sitcom, Holliston. And the show, if you haven't seen it, has a bunch of horror icons in it, either as recurring roles or guest stars. And I want to get as many people as I can who have been on the show, both as guest stars and recurring bits, basically to sign this poster. So I got Kane to sign it because he's been on, I think, 3 episodes. And I got D. Snyder to sign it because he's a recurring. He's in, I think, almost every episode, if not every episode, as basically Adam and Joe's boss at their
Let's rock it.
So D actually wrote on here, "Good evening, Holliston," which is kind of his catchphrase, I guess, from the show.
He says it every episode, so yes, it's a catchphrase.
Yeah, I guess so. But I don't know, I'm pretty happy. This is going to be a very long project for me, and it's never going to be complete because I can't get Dave Brocky to sign it because he's long gone, unfortunately. But it's going to be as complete as I could possibly make it as guests become available to me to get to sign it.
That will be a cool piece once there's less white on there.
Yeah, that's basically what Kane said. I think Kane had that reaction that it would be really cool when it's done.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping for maybe a little bigger reaction, but I mean, the thing I was surprised with was D actually he didn't have a lot of 8x10s on his booth to get signed, but the ones he actually did have a Holliston one, and the one that actually made me smile the most is he had a photo of himself from the PMRC hearings back in it was the early 90s, late 80s, basically when they added the parental advisory logo to records, and he accused Tipper Gore of having a dirty mind. And I don't know. I'm not like a huge Twisted Sister fan, but I am a Dee Snider fan because of crap like that.
And so after he did his Dee Snider Holliston fun, I bought it a few years ago, the regular edition, but Dee Snider has his own copy of Strangeland, his director's cut version. I've only heard about it, but I had to pick that up, so that was my main grab for him. So it's fun, and from what I read, or what I've read and what he said, a sequel is in the works. That's all he's saying. Well, I didn't go to the panel, so there may have been more.
So after we finished with D, I went and got a couple other autographs. If you've watched my channel, you know, especially last Halloween, I went like hardcore obsessed into Halloween, and that kind of filtered over more specifically thanks to one's customs into some Rob Zombie Halloween mania, I guess. Those movies have always kind of had a weird special place. I know some people don't care for them, but I like them. So I did get the original Rob Zombie young Michael Myers, Daig, I forget his last name, but I got him to sign a photo here. That was really quick. It was kind of surprised me, like I was still handing money over to his handler and he already had signed the photo, and I was kind of like, oh, holy crap. Like I just wasn't expecting it to go by so quickly. But like, I think that might be why he never had a line, is because he was efficient, if nothing else. And then it was actually a few minutes later, because I think he was missing from his booth at the time when I got Daig's autograph. But I did get Tyler Mane to sign a Michael Myers photo. It's actually from H2, which I didn't really anticipate that I'd be getting an H2 photo signed rather than the first one, but I have an affection for Hobo Myers that I don't think many people do. So yeah, I was looking at his booth. I was kind of like, man, you've got a lot of good Michael Myers photos. He really did have a great selection of images, and I knew specifically it had to be Myers, not Sabretooth or anything else. But I saw this one with him giving the finger, and I knew that was it. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, it's got to be that one. And he wrote on it, Phil, tell them all to F off. So, I get a lot of horror icons. I kind of write generic, spooky-sounding, threatening-sounding crap on autographs. I don't think I ever have to worry about somebody doing the same quote on another autograph like this. So that's pretty fun.
I think "You're next" is the most common.
You're next, or I know where you live, or see you in hell.
Yeah.
Those are all pretty common.
Does it actually F up, or does it say fuck up?
I think it actually just says F. So obviously Rob Zombie did not direct that autograph. That's why I need Sid Haig to sign some stuff. You can sign this Holliston poster.
Tutti fucking fruity. Oh yeah, no, it's fuck you.
I think it's like his biggest line in the whole show. Just fuck you. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. In reality, a bunch of time passed in between. So basically I had this ongoing saga today of attempting to get Malcolm McDowell's autograph. And it's only because I'm a picky bastard and have horrible taste in cinema. I think that is basically the reason why this happened. So I got in his line. His line was actually wrapping out of the door and into the hallway. It was designed that way. It wasn't like it was like super massive. Mm-hmm. But I got in line and I got in. I was 2 people away from getting an autograph. I'm looking at his gigantic table full of all these photos from like the 20 billion movies he's been in. And I realized there's no 8x10s of him from Halloween as Loomis, which is what I really wanted, because I mentioned I'm Halloween obsessed, and that's what I wanted. And I was really disappointed, and I talked to his handler. The handler said they hadn't been able to get any printed, and I actually decided I was going to get out of line, not get the autograph at that moment, and go try to find something in the vendor room for him to sign, because usually there's somebody there with photos to get signed that aren't like normal ones on the table. There's at least one person there every con. Nobody this time. So nobody had a standard photo of Loomis. There were other things with Loomis on it I could have done.
I was just saying, there wasn't even any artwork. I mean, sometimes there's even artwork of the people there, but it was mostly Clockwork Orange, which I don't blame it. That's what he's most iconically known for. But it was amazing, just that booth is just filled to the wall of just 8x10s and it was nowhere in sight. I wonder if there was another convention or something else.
And he did have mini posters from Halloween, but none actually had Loomis on them. And just because the way I collect these autographs, it's all, you know, usually stills from the film of the actor, or worse, behind the scenes stuff. So I just wanted what I wanted, basically. So after all that, I came back later, and I was still kind of hemming and hawing over whether I was going to get the autograph. And he had gone to lunch at this point, and I saw that they had added one Halloween photo to his table. So while he was still at lunch, Colin and I both got in line. We made the line, basically. Yeah. We started the line.
We just stood there
and waited probably about 15-20 minutes for him to get back.
Yeah, from his scheduled time, yeah.
Yeah, which I was wondering if he was going to come back because he had a photo op immediately after, but he did make a quick stop by the table, so that was cool. So, unfortunately, it's got a little worse for wear on the trip, but I did get him as Loomis next to Tyler May as Michael. Got that signed. That was cool. His handler, because I guess I was the first person getting a Halloween piece since he came back, was like, oh, don't say anything to him. I just want to see if he notices that we got Halloween stuff. So
you didn't say that. I didn't know you said that to him.
That's what he told me, yeah. He was like, I just want him to see, I want to see if he notices. The handler said this. And then so I got it signed, and then I was about to walk away, and the handler's like, hey, what movie's that still from? I'm like, Halloween. And he's like, where'd you get it? The table. And Malcolm's like, no, you didn't. We don't have any. And he's like, yeah, there's a stack over there. So he goes and he like looks at mine, and he looks over and sees them. He's like, oh, you guys got these made. And he like kind of like flips the paper around. He's looking at it. It's like, I didn't hear exactly what he said, but he yelled something at them about inferior quality and suggested I should get my money back.
Hearing the actor you just semi-paid to get an autograph for tell you need your money back for the shitty quality of a photo you got is hilarious. Even if he says it jokingly, because it's Malcolm, everything he says is, you can tell when he's humor and when it's serious. It's so hilarious because he was just like, what the? Yeah, you should totally get a different one. This fucking sucks. It was hilarious. What brought us back to the Malcolm booth was me trying to find a replacement Loomis photo. And we found a few that were good for him, but I was looking at the DVDs he had signed, Blu-rays he had signed, and I was slowly transferring everything to Screen Factory, and they looked, and this was the last copy of Cat People. Never seen it, but I figured last copy available. I get a photo with him, and it's autographed. I took a bullet, and I was like, you know what? I wasn't planning this, but hey, conventions are meant for splurging occasionally. So I bit the bullet, and it was really fun. He commented saying it was a great movie. I'm sure it is.
I feel like when he says that, you could probably trust him, as opposed to some other people, where it's like, sure it is.
If he says it, you're either going to go, one, it's a good movie, or two, it's so bad it's hilariously good.
You know what I just realized? The other photo he did not have of himself on the table was him playing a British person on South Park.
You think he'd actually have that fucking photo?
That's important to his filmography.
Hello, I'm a British person, and we're talking about Pip today.
The other character's not even on the show anymore.
I wouldn't know. Spoilers. God.
They didn't even like write him off. They just replaced him with Butters because they found there was a better scapegoat for things.
Oh yeah, Butters.
So while we were creating the line for Malcolm, this, I guess, third time we were actually at his booth.
Yeah.
You know, we were kind of just sitting there waiting for him to show up, and Petey, the organizer of Spooky Empire, actually came over to us, and I guess he recognized us from doing this. At first I was like, you must be thinking it's the wrong people, because, like, how the hell would you know who we are?
McLovin and Minnie Hobo Myers.
But yeah, I guess apparently he watches our breakdown of these events. So now we know he's watching. So maybe we should be more careful about what we say about the event or something.
He does. He loves the videos. He enjoys the critiquing. Not everything, he told us. He doesn't agree with everything, which I don't blame him. But he does love hearing the fans' reaction.
And we only know it from our side of things, too. So,
yeah.
I mean, when you're behind the scenes on something, it's always got to be frustrating to hear people critique things, because it's either like, well, no, you don't understand this part, or it's like, if only you knew how many hours I spent agonizing over that.
Oh, yeah. Especially with last year with the whole fucking issue with Matthew. Oh, I will say, did we do a video for Matthew?
I don't even remember. That's like, I think we did, but I think I might have just made it. I don't know.
I think you did. Him going through all that with Matthew and having to literally, like, what, less than 2 months to reorganize and get a whole nother convention going. He pulled so many strings. He was able to pull it off. That is awesome. I can't think of any other con that would pull it off that close to its previous time. As well as keep the tickets that were already bought eligible for that one in December, as well as this one. So if you weren't able to use your ticket in December, you were able to use it just for this con as well. And that is awesome. I'm not kissing ass or anything. It's just, that is an amazing work. He does an awesome job. And it's fun to have a convention in Orlando where we can afford, unlike Celebration.
Which was the weekend previous to this.
Yes.
And I thought about going because I was already down in Orlando. The tickets were $70 for a Friday. And I was
That's just a walk in the door.
Yeah, I was like, fuck that.
$75 to get in, mortgage a house to get anything else.
And all I wanted, and I don't even think I would have been allowed to do it, was I wanted to get Warwick Davis to sign my copy of Skinned Deep. And I think they were only allowing Star Wars stuff to be signed.
Yeah.
But anyway, the whole point of that story was, apparently now we're being watched by the con runners, and we should watch what we say. But actually right now I'm going to tell you exactly what I think was wrong about Spooky Empire. Now that we got that out of the way, we can go on to the good stuff that was in the vendor room. Which, actually, the first thing, I'm going to call it splitting the difference here. To me, I think to both of us, it was kind of a guest, but technically it was a vendor or an artist.
Ever since watching Digging Up the Marrow, we found out the artist behind the monsters of that film, Alex Party, he's local. He's in Florida. So we were just like, oh, we kept on trying to get in contact with him, with going to Spooky or any convention in Florida, because we weren't sure if he was Orlando, Tampa, Miami, Key West. But I think just this week, like Wednesday, he puts out on his Instagram, Facebook that he's going to Spooky. And besides Kane, he was my main grab. Like, I must meet him. Like, I must meet him. He was the reason. Like, you see everybody else. I've seen everybody at that convention that I wanted to see before. He was one that has barely been there. I must get his stuff.
Well, the funny thing is, I think in the December event, I saw on Instagram, like, after we'd left the con, that he was there, and I'm like, oh, it would be cool just to, like, run into him in the aisles, but, like, I don't know, I was excited that he was going to be at a booth and we could go corner him, basically.
Yeah.
So we both kind of went in with Digging Up the Marrow related stuff to get signed. So I got my Blu-ray signed. I got this from the Aries Scope store, so it came with Adam Green's signature already on it. So now I've added him on there. So I think if I had Ray Wise and Will Barrett, the cinematographer / co-star of the movie, I'd have pretty much everybody worthwhile on the front of this movie. Maybe Arwen. Do I need Arwen to sign it?
No.
Okay.
Maybe Adam's wife.
Ex-wife? That could be awkward. That's actually a problem with the Hollister poster, too. I'm just going to put that out there.
I got this booklet. It's pretty much the Digging Up the Marrow booklet of the monsters. And I had to get that signed. My only gripe, and it's nothing against it, is that he signed in the light here, and he signed on the face here in black. So it's kind of hard to see. That's my only gripe. It's not really a gripe. But,
granted, he had a pen for signing all of his stuff, because I don't think he really expected people to come bring him things to autograph.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's like a normal guest where he has like the silver Sharpie, the gold Sharpie, the blue Sharpie.
It's one of those, I wish we would have had a silver one. Maybe if he's at another convention, I'll bring a silver Sharpie and he can just do over it. Maybe, if I'm that anal about it. But it was fun to get something Marrow related, because it didn't look like he had anything Marrow on his table. And like he said, Adam, Will, and Ray Wise are definitely going to be added if they ever hit a convention.
I feel like Will would be the hard one, because I don't see really cinematographers touring.
I could see him tagging along with Adam.
If they're making another movie, yes. So really, yeah, he didn't really have much for Marrow or anything. Really, he was promoting his Doppelgangers book, which we'd actually found in the wild, I think, at Halloween Horror Nights last year at one of the stores in Universal City Walk.
Mm-hmm.
Which was cool, because I knew the book existed, I just had never seen it in person. And it was a lot of fun to flip through, and I'm kind of glad I waited to buy it so I was able to actually get it from the author. Because, yeah, we both picked up copies. I didn't know there was Master Blaster in there.
Yeah.
Holy crap. But yeah, it's all basic renditions of horror characters in his style. So it's just a cool little art book made up of different things that he's drawn. I think it's a real cool project. And he had different covers. We both opted for the Jason mask on the character on the front. But there was also a Tarman face as a different cover. And he did sign the inside, which is awesome. And we were budgeting for signature money for him, but he just signed everything for free.
Yeah, which that was awesome as well.
So because I'm weak, I'm a figure collector, I did go one step further. I picked up I guess it's a statue really, based on some of his artwork called The Astronaut. And he had two different versions, both a color and a black and gray one. I opted for the color because I just like the kind of weird, saturated, exaggerated colors on it.
That and it was the last one.
True, but honestly, it wasn't the rarity. It was I actually preferred it.
But still, it adds to it.
But yeah, I mean, it's basically this astronaut dude, I guess, being attacked by an alien, and his face is getting melted off or ripped off or
chicken?
whatever.
Is it chicken?
It kind of looks like chicken. Narrow, but I don't know. I like the gross style of it. I love that it's a 3D representation of his art.
Going straight from Alex, he posted on Instagram a movie called Pool Party Massacre. And every convention I try and find the low budget movies just so I can support, and plus it's fun to see what schlock you can find out there just by people who live in your own backyard. But Pool Party Massacre was the booth right like kitty corner from him. Don't know anything about it except for what the back says. But it looks like just a cheesy horror movie that just I cannot wait to dig into. The best thing it says on the back here is director's commentary with Drew Marvick and his mom. I cannot wait to listen to that.
And I love the poster art. Like, their whole booth was decked out in this artwork. And it's awesome 80s cheese, and I love it.
Yeah. They even had a little, like, what was it? Kenner style figurine of just a headless bikini body. If you want to look them up, it's pretty much Pool Party Massacre, Instagram, Facebook, website. It's definitely worth checking out. I mean, I did. It was funny because as we were sitting there, we were talking about sequels and everything. It's like they were planning on a sequel. They wanted to do as many sequels up until it gets to space. They just had to figure out the whole pool, water, and space scenario.
So I suggested they do a Planet of the Pool Party Massacres. I think they liked the idea.
They did.
And I would watch that movie. I know one person wanting to watch a movie doesn't mean jack, but okay, two people would watch it. So, but yeah, that was cool. Like, they had a really good presentation. You could tell they were working hard to promote their stuff.
So as I'm sitting here promoting other people, in the same vendor room, I think on one of the, like near the walls, there's always an armor booth. That was a guy who does a lot of movies on YouTube, and they're pretty much icons of horror. Trent Duncan and, I'm blanking on your name, I'm sorry, but Jason, Boba Fett was Saturday, and I'm assuming Stormtrooper will be for Sunday. Both awesome guys. Hell, they did Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, Jason vs. Leatherface, Punisher vs. Darkman, Candyman vs. Michael Myers. They're all on YouTube. Definitely look them up. It is worth it. They are great to watch. And it's fun. After that, we went to the other vendor room to kind of recheck to see if we could find a Malcolm McDowell Loomis photo. Because that was our big hunt for this year.
Sadly.
We went back to I call him the bootleg booth, and I bought an Alligator 2 from him, The Birds 2, Fright Night 2. There's a lot of sequels in that. And he finally had a copy of Nightmare Cafe. It's a short-lived TV show, Robert Englund in it, so I had to pick it up, $10.
So besides the lack of the photo booth that's always there, or maybe I just didn't find it. I felt like I searched pretty thoroughly, but I never saw it. But there were a lot of the booths that are usually there at Spooky, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's kind of nice, you can kind of count on a lot of these same vendors to come back over and over.
Yeah. In a good way, definitely.
Yeah, well, you can only shop there twice a year unless you go to their website. And it's always cool.
Some don't even
I like
sell.
seeing stuff in person anyway.
Yeah.
There was one guy there who we've met at multiple cons across the state. But he has a lot of real and bootleg horror movies, sci-fi movies, and a special section usually for kaiju films. And I did, don't judge me too harshly, but I did break down and get a DVD of Shin Godzilla with English subtitles. I know that probably makes me a horrible person. I'll buy the real thing as soon as it's available with subtitles, but I just really don't feel like importing one from Japan when I can't understand what's happening. And I've seen Shin Godzilla twice in theaters. I know the movie is kind of boring without knowing what's going on, and some people probably argue boring even if you do know what's going on. But I definitely need the subtitles, so this will tide me over until I can get a real copy.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I didn't really do a whole lot of shopping. Basically, I was less tempted to just go crazy in the vendor room as I had in the past, even though there were things I wanted to see. The vendor that I bought the gingerbread man from at the Christmas con, they were back. They had their John Hammond replica canes. Even I want one of those, so I don't know how you pass those up again, because
it's called I didn't have the money.
Yeah, it would have to be, because I wouldn't have the willpower to say no if I was as much of a Jurassic Park fan as you are.
Yeah. One day I'm gonna walk in. Like there'll be one spooky where we'll go. I'll have one celebrity get. The rest will be for vending, and I'm gonna walk out with that cane because, that and the gingerbread man. I'm still.
Those gingerbread men are awesome. I'll try putting the annotation on here with the company's name because I don't remember it offhand, but I know I have reference for it somewhere.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they do sell online, so
yeah.
I just wanted to plug them again because I thought they were a really cool vendor with really cool art.
It's the booth that always has Jaws, the T-Rex, and the Velociraptor just literally sticking out, staring at you.
Yeah, I love their little stuff because I like prop replicas like that because that's stuff I have room to display. But I mean, if you're dedicated and you've got room,
you got the money.
A full freaking Velociraptor coming out of your wall from them. It looks freaking spectacular.
Yeah. Who needs the Hulk hand and Captain America's shield in your wall? You can have the Velociraptor head or the T-Rex head sticking out of your wall. I mean, that's what draws you in. And then you see all the small stuff like the gingerbread man, the alien eggs, the brains, and then the canes. I can't wait to see what they're going to do next.
The other thing, too, is, we didn't really focus on, movie shopping while we were there, which is normally something we focus heavily on. I'm trying to cut back on smaller figures and things like that, so I didn't really focus on those kind of booths. So the vendor room was actually really quick, just from kind of narrowed, focused interest. Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of cool stuff. There were several vendors. Oh, I guess I should get to the other thing I did purchase. There's a booth that's almost always there that sells a lot of Trick or Treat Studios masks. I think they do have some other companies there. But I finally completed out my Trick or Treat Studios Halloween 3 set with the Witch. So that's kind of a cool thing. There were a couple other vendors that had Trick or Treat Studios masks, and I bought a lot of them online, but it's always kind of nice to see them in person because they look so much better when they're displayed and they're on a wig head. This was all crumpled up, so it probably looks a little wonky right now. But there were some vendors that actually had them out on foam heads, and they had them, looking like they're supposed to, and it's always cool to see. I know Trick or Treat Studios is far from the height of mask making, but they do make solid stuff, and it made me remember why I like collecting them in a weird way.
So are you going to get the Krampus one?
I was looking at it. I want to, I keep almost buying The Orphan Killer, even though I don't like that movie that much, but just because I have a weird connection to that movie, that I don't even want to go into. But yeah, I almost feel obligated to own that mask.
But that was pretty much our grabs and pickups for Spooky. But it was another fun year. Can't wait for October, which, as we were talking to Petey, he mentioned he's collaborating with Disney. And I don't know what it's going to be about. It's the weekend of the 22nd of September, 2017. Spooky Day in the parks. Weekend of Wicked Fun, Expo and Bounding event. Bounding, for all you non-Disney people, is you can dress up as your favorite character from the movies, but it can't be a official license. You can take stuff that you own and make it a unique costume, but it can't be exact. And then
Disney's weird as hell.
And then October 27th through the 29th is Spooky Empire and Halloween, which I cannot wait because then the next weekend I'm flying up to Minnesota to do Crypticon again.
So if you're supposed to go to the Disney spooky thing in costume, Can I go as the scariest thing from Disney's history and go as the box office results from the Black Cauldron? So I guess there's no official announcements for the coming events, unlike some years, but
Yeah.
I guess because they're doing 2 things in a short amount of time, they're probably working double duty on that.
Oh, yeah.
Duty.
I'm not a Disney person, but it'd be kind of fun to go and see the Spooky Day in the park. Hopefully it's not Disney prices. Hopefully it's good for the con. Like, if the con gets the money, hey, that's power to them. It'll be fun. I can't wait.
But another great spooky event in the books, and we're not just saying that because we know people are watching. I promise. We will definitely, assuming nothing weird happens, be doing coverage of that event as it comes up.
Maybe Spooky Days, but definitely for Spooky and Crypticon on my end. And you'll probably be getting a Dragon Con event from him.
I don't know any other Relicons in between. I don't know if I'm going to do Tampa Bay this year because I haven't seen enough to make me want to go out there again for that.
That, and I don't know about you, but budgeting.
Yeah, well, I'm traveling like everywhere because metal bands exist and I must see them. And Iron Maiden. That's, yeah. I've only seen them once, but yeah, Iron Maiden.
Is that your I Am Groot?
I think it might be. I think that might be all I'm able to say in about 2 months. I'm going to go see Sabaton and get my brain blown out in like the front row of that show, which is going to be spectacular. And then a month later, I'm going back to have Maiden play. And like weeks later, I'm going back to I'm going to Orlando to see Metallica.
I forgot you were on that.
Yeah, then I got to get my tickets for Slayer.
Oh boy.
And then I gotta figure out a way to see Megadeth so I can see the big 4 in 1 year because I'm a metal nerd and I haven't done that ever before. And it looks like my battery's dying, which is probably a good sign that I need to shut the hell up and finally end this video. So we will catch you guys next time. Later.